marketed very sexy, body stripping, hot, etc., etc. I actually didn't have a problem with that in the promotion because I thought that that is a valid recontextualization of the piece in the modern day. In the 1700s, 1800s, when this book was published, even the insinuations in the book would have been outrageous.
Yes.
Right? But in 2025, if you just did a flat insinuations only storytelling of this film, there's nothing scandalous about that. Now, a very, 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 very artful filmmaker can probably still pull it off. But in my opinion, actually, if you're reinterpreting this story in 2025, you should actually lean into the fact that there's almost certainly a sexual dynamic going on between Catherine and Heathcliff. Because just because Emily Brontë didn't say it in the book doesn't mean it wasn't happening.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Crucially, we have to remember that Nelly is narrating it, right? So if Nelly doesn't see something, she's not going to talk about it. So just because we don't read about sex in the book doesn't mean that it didn't happen either.
Yeah, and there are several moments in the book where you have like, they'll be like, oh, Kathy ran off in the rain to go and find him and she was outside and we don't know when she came back and stuff like that. And there's even a potential like light abuse conversation to be had there. That, like, what does it mean? Even if they're not actually blood siblings, but when you're raised as a sibling with someone, sexual or romantic stuff going on is inherently abusive most of the time, and actually you should put a stop to it. And the fact that that almost certainly is happening, like, it's very unlikely that they become adults or actually older teenagers, which is what they are at the end of in the middle of the book. And suddenly these romantic and sexual feelings come out from nowhere and they never explored any strange things when they were younger. It's very unlikely. So I actually don't have a problem with a modern day adaptation leaning into the fact that that was probably happening. The problem is whatever studio interference, whatever Emerald Fennell self-castration was going on there, meant they actually removed the insane, depraved sexuality from the supposedly depraved taboo. It didn't feel that taboo. We didn't even see anything.
No, I do kind of disagree. Because they get to fully explore themselves sexually, not fully as in like they can't be a couple, right? But like they were able to have the sex and satisfy that desire. It meant that we didn't get the yearning. And to me, when I read the book, it's all about the yearning. So this is my problem with
yearning.
it. There is no yearning here because they get to fuck each other at nighttime.
I actually I'm with you. Let me extend this thought process even further, right? I think the film wants the yearning too much, but doesn't really want it either. I think there is a way that Jacob Elordi's Heathcliff is directed in this film that is actually very yearning. Like that whole scene where he's on his knees saying that I will be your dog. Like where he's begging her for the coochie. Where he's like, as in the whole fact that she can tell him jump and he'll say how high. There is, in theory, a sense of like obsessive yearning about that. All the shots focused on Jacob Elordi's doe eye-like eyes, they sentimentalize Heathcliff too much. He's not monstrous. He's just a yearner that's a bit freaky. That's what the film does. So on the one hand, they kind of over-yearnify Heathcliff in a sentimental way, but at the same time, they don't show the animalistic,
the spiritual
obsessive, generational, demonic obsession and toxicity that's supposed to be going on. And losing the generational story is a big problem. Because when you go to the second generation and you see how, even though this is Kathy's actual blood, Heathcliff still don't give a fuck. Like he has no emotional attachment to Kathy's child, his own child, his like he doesn't care about anybody. I think demonstrating that everybody else is nothing to him except for Kathy shows you that obsession properly. And when you lose that, you really lose an understanding of just how crazy Heathcliff is.
Having said that though, Heathcliff, I think he even verbalizes in the book towards the end that like there's a line he won't cross when it comes to people who Kathy held dear to her, including her daughter. So yes, I agree with you. At his core, Heathcliff becomes a demon. He becomes a monster. He doesn't give a damn about anyone. But I found it really interesting that he was even self-policing his monstrous self to say like, I'm not gonna cross this line just because I used to like your mom, but don't mess with me.
he won't kill Edgar because of her. But I think the film flips it in a weird way, where in the books he's like, I won't even consider killing Edgar because of Kathy. Whereas in the film, he asked Kathy, should I kill Edgar? Which I'm like, you're missing the point of it. Like, another thing I think the film loses, which I've noticed happens with all the adaptations, is that in this film, they have Heathcliff and Catherine getting all up in a bunch about the fact that she's married.
Yes, this is something Catherine. I want to highlight. In the book, he doesn't care.
Don't give a fuck.
That's actually one of the things I liked about Heathcliff.
No, it is completely by the way that she's married. It has nothing to do with anything as far as not just Heathcliff, but even her is concerned. Really. Yeah. The real reason she crashes out is because he and Edgar have a physical fight, and then Edgar basically forbids her from seeing him. But it's never about any kind of moral or ethical concern or the fact that she's cheating on her husband. Heathcliff and Catherine don't really view themselves as two separate human beings, right? They're supposed to view themselves as they're essentially sharing a soul. So, like, our own human mortal ideas of marriage or home or religion don't really apply to their dynamic with each other, because they're like, who are you to be saying anything about my relationship with Kathy? Like, that has nothing to do with me. That's your problem.
These are the parts of the text that actually felt very feminist to me, actually, and one of the reasons why I loved it. Yeah, because it was so clear that, like, Emily Brontë doesn't have anything nice to say about marriage. Like,
no, she doesn't.
Literally, Catherine and Heathcliff, I think the reason why Heathcliff doesn't kill Edgar is because he understands Edgar is Catherine's keeper at this point. He's the one that's going to keep her warm. He's the one that's going to pay for her. And, you know, Heathcliff is happy to just come at nighttime. And I like that. Like, I kind of enjoyed that dynamic. Like, what's the problem?
I honestly wish they leaned into that more. Especially because, like, if you read stuff about how people react in real life, apparently, when Jacob Elordi walks into a room. I think Sofia Coppola, the reason she cast him in Priscilla and stuff like that, she said she literally saw him walk into a room, and the way everybody behaved, she had never seen anything like that before. Like, they were just staring at him, men and women. And I think they should have, if you're going to cast Jacob Elordi in a film like this, then you should lean into that, in that there should be zero insecurity about Heathcliff. He shouldn't care. Like, it shouldn't, there is no other except for him as far as Kathy is concerned. So it shouldn't matter. And actually, you should lean into the bravado of that. He should pine and yearn for her, but it shouldn't ever be about asking for permission to take her from Edgar, because Edgar is never supposed to even be worthy an opponent as far as he's concerned. He's irrelevant.
And that's one of the things I love the most about the book. I love seeing the degradation of Edgar Linton. I'm sorry. I know he doesn't do anything wrong, but I just love to see him being disgraced left, right, and centre.
Should I give you a hot take? You can see why Emerald Fennell started thinking BDSM when she was reading the book, because that Edgar, he's unambiguously a sub.
He's a sub, He's a sub. He
wants to be dominated.
Speaking of subs, though, I want to speak on a dynamic I was observing between Catherine and Heathcliff that I haven't seen in any of the other adaptations. This book really drills down on how Kathy sees Heathcliff as beneath her, right? And it made me think about, like, examples that I've seen of this in real life, right? These are women who are dating men that they literally believe to be beneath them. And obviously it begs the question, well, if you think someone is beneath you, why are you dating them? But it's because the women that do this, and it's not just women, by the way, but I'm just want to speak about women for now. The women who do this enjoy that power dynamic. Now, of course, it's different if it's like a consensual power dynamic, but, like, I have seen things like this get really ugly. The example I've seen of this in real life is particularly a white woman from Europe, UK, Australia, US, marrying a brown man or a black man from a developing country. So there's actually a famous TV show that depicts this really well called 90 Day Fiancé. And I used to be obsessed with that TV show. But you will see countless examples of American women marrying broke guys, basically, from, like, Africa or Asia or the Middle East, bringing them to America, demanding sex from them, by the way, on TV. And when they deny it, they say, well, I'm going to send you back to your country. That's when all the racist stuff comes out. And I don't really like this film, but I will say the depiction of how manipulative Kathy really is in that dynamic, I would say that that's the one thing this adaptation does pretty well, especially compared to the others, in my opinion.
Compared to the others, which tend to soften Kathy up quite a lot. Yeah. Okay, I agree.
On the point about how this film handles female sexuality, right? I don't find it to be transgressive. I don't find it to be very interesting. I don't find it to be spicy. And I found it interesting that Emerald Fennell said that she wanted to focus on the like sadomasochistic elements of the novel. I don't know how she read that. But anyway, one thing I was thinking while all of this was going on was about two other films that I watched recently. One of them is Send Help, featuring Dylan O'Brien, and it focuses on a woman who gets washed up on the beach. And we see the similar dynamic that I just described of a woman who really wants a man to be beneath her so that she can basically force him into some sort of romantic or intimate relationship. And the other example I thought about was Baby Girl from last year.
The greatest film about AI robots ever made.
What I found annoying is that, like, I think this would have been a great example to build upon what Baby Girl does when it comes to female sexuality. I don't think Baby Girl is a serious film either, but I think that the one thing I can give it credit for is the way how it shows a very raw depiction of what female desire and sexuality can look like in a way that this film just doesn't do. And I think, like, that's what this film is supposed to do. So yeah, I found it really interesting. I think if anyone wants to actually see something that's actually smutty and focuses on the female desire element, you need to go and watch Baby Girl, not this.
Don't listen to D. Jacob Elordi is so hot. None of this shit matters. He's just hot. Is his acting great in the film? No. Does the characterization of Heathcliff really make sense? No. But that man is hot. When he climbed into Isabella's window, I was like, ooh, that's a man. That's all I'll say about that.